Hey Kev, let's follow this trail over here. This looks like there might be something waiting down there.
All right. Hey, wait a minute. Do you hear that?
Yeah, I thought it was just me. What the heck is that?
I don't know what that is. Whoa, do you smell that too?
That's unbelievable. Hey, look.
What the?
Hey, look, those branches are moving over there.
What the heck is that?
Holy cow, is that what I think it is? Look at that thing.
Oh my God.
It's a freaking Sasquatch. Welcome to the Bigfoot Terror in the Woods Sightings and Encounters podcast. I am your host, W.J. Sheehan, author of the series of books, 38 volumes, in paperback, ebook, Kindle, and audiobook, available through our website, BigfootTerrorInTheWoods.com. Just hit the book link. There are all viable links to exactly what you're looking for. Take you right to Amazon, so you don't have to hunt and peck over at Amazon for what you're looking for. And hit the shop. A lot of cool things in there. A lot of time and effort went into setting up this shop. I'd like to see some more people in there looking around, so please do that. And now, without any further ado, my brother and co-host, KJ Sheehan. Kev, how are you?
I'm doing all right, Bill. It's early here in the evening in North Carolina, but we did set the clocks back, so it is dark.
Yeah. Not my favorite time of year. I kind of overlook it, but
yeah.
God, this darkness falling in. And then, like, you look at the clock, it's 7:30 if you get the day off, and you're like, geez, you feel like it's 11.
Yeah, it's 6:30 right now, and it is pitch dark.
Yeah, I know. Hey, by the way, the moon coming up tonight is a beaver moon.
I just saw it. It's beautiful. Is it full tonight?
If it's not, it's almost.
Yeah, it looks like it's nearly full.
Yeah, this moon they call the beaver moon.
Beaver?
Yeah.
They keep naming them after all different things.
I know. Strawberry
so there's like
moon.
100 different moons now.
Harvest moon, strawberry moon, beaver moon.
Dogman moon.
I could go for that. The dog man. Well, it's funny. I passed on a dog man report for tonight.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not going to go retrieve it.
Were you afraid of it?
No, it was a little on the shorter side, and I wasn't going to pair up a couple of shorts tonight.
Okay.
So, eventually everything's grist for the mill. I got some really good accounts for tonight. Interesting.
All right.
Crazy stuff, but
well,
how you
let's
doing?
go, man. Let's go.
Let's go. Well, this sighting was brought to my attention by Deborah Raynard, a resident of the state of Ohio. And this is what Deborah had to say. Bill, as I had mentioned to you when we first communicated with each other, I'm not the one who believes that things just happen by accident in my life. My eyes and ears are always open to what people are saying and why they were brought into my life on any given day. Sounds familiar. The reason for my saying this will come into play shortly. My brother Edward was involved regionally, working for a large computer-related firm performing and installing computer upgrades in a number of different locations in the States. This was in the beginning days of the computer boom during the early 80s. And it was because of this that he had rented a property just east of Mount Hood, near what I would believe at the time was called the Welches, like the grape jelly. But I may be wrong, she says. It was a long time ago. By the way, folks, that was spelled W-E-L-C-H-E-S. So after you hear this account, if you live around there and know anything about this or anything else, give us a shout. So I had made my way out to visit and spend some time with Edward for 2 weeks during a summer vacation. And when I arrived, he had a beautiful 2-story house that was nestled in the woods, having a deck on the second story. I think it was on my second day being there that the two of us had gone down to a bar and grill on what I believe was Highway East 26 for a couple of beers and burgers. While we were sitting there eating, 2 other men sat down at the table next to us, and we overheard them talking about Bigfoot. Edward and I looked at each other with a wink and continued to listen as we ate. These 2 fellas were talking about a sighting of this creature that had happened in town the previous night by a friend of theirs who was driving down the very road we were on in this bar and grill. At some point, I felt compelled to enter the conversation. And while excusing my interruption, I introduced myself, telling them that I was intrigued by what they were saying. Well, these 2 fellows were more than happy to have us join in the fray and began to expose to us all that they knew, not only about what had just happened, but the so-called regular sightings of this creature in the surrounding area. We left the grill that day all in a buzz about what the men had said, and my conversation with Edward continued into the next day about this supposed Bigfoot monster. Some 4 days later, about 4 o'clock in the morning, I was awakened from my sleep, having heard some type of sound. Now, the room I was located in was on the first floor, with its wall against the rear of the house, situated below this second-story deck that I told you about. As I lay there in somewhat of a groggy state, wondering if I actually had heard something or had just gotten up, again, a loud and resounding howl of some kind erupted, which I knew with certainty was what had awakened me in the first place. I got out of bed and looked out the back window, peeking through the curtains. And I was certain that I saw something leap into the air out of the corner of my eye. Now, I must tell you that this deck, which was above the window I was looking out of, had a dual floodlight shining down on top of it, which washed its light out into the yard behind the house as well as on the deck. I walked up the stairs in the house in the dark, my brother being sound asleep, and I crept slowly into the kitchen, which had sliding doors that opened out onto the deck. These sliders had a drawstring set of thick drapes covering them that were closed, and so I snuck up on them and slowly parted them open with my hand, just enough that I could peek out onto the deck. As soon as I parted these drapes a couple of inches, there, laying on the deck before my eyes, was a large cougar, laying there facing intently towards the woods in the back of the house. I hadn't made so much as a peep, with the drapes being cracked open maybe 2 inches, with me concealed behind them. And this cougar suddenly twitched his head, turned to look at me, and immediately faced the woods again. I let go of the drapes and immediately snuck back in to wake up Edward in order to show him this lion. After briefly explaining to him the howling and seeing the cougar on the deck, the 2 of us stealthily made our way up to the kitchen. Once again, parting the drapes, Edward had now seen the cougar for himself. And as we stepped back, he said to me, whispering, "Why is it on the deck? And what is it staring at?" Hold on. We stepped into the living room, and we were in total agreement that this thing should have jumped when it saw me and it didn't, which to us meant that this cougar was afraid, if that can be possible, of something much greater than ourselves. This was odd enough, in that this cat was an apex predator in the area, and it was exhibiting behavior, in my opinion, of being afraid. But of what? The two of us now went back downstairs into the bedroom under the deck, which is the place I had been sleeping. We opened the blinds fully and could see the outline of the cat above us on the deck, as well as the edge of the woods behind the house, and the cat still did not move. Looking out into the woods now, we made out not one, but two sets of what appeared to be glowing red eyes. I distinctly remember seeing one set of them blink several times, and the other set kind of going in and out of view as they would if something had turned away from the floodlight's illumination. We had our eyes fully fixated on the trees, and seeing these red eyes, we were able to make out the dark outlines of two very big figures. One seemed to be ducking up and down within the bushes, which occurred simultaneously with our being able or not able to see its eyes, while the other was standing waist deep in what appeared to be the bushes, swaying left and right. I whispered to Edward, "They're two Bigfoot," and that it was them that I heard howling. Apparently, in hindsight, the cat had jumped on the deck and come into the light for safety, which meant to us that these monsters could catch it. By the time we had seen the set of eyes, we were doing nothing to hide ourselves. We were certain that these creatures knew we were there looking. We were fully exposed, somewhat illuminated, with the blinds or curtains fully drawn open. Edward had a gun and went to get it. Not that we were planning to shoot anything, but rather in case anything developed, putting our lives in danger with these creatures or the cat. After several long minutes of watching them, one of the Bigfoot stepped out of the brush and into the light of the backyard. And when it did, the cougar leaped off the side of the deck, running off to the left-hand side of the house. As soon as it had made its move, the Bigfoot in the yard started to run after it, and this was quickly followed by the second creature leaping out of the trees and following in hot pursuit. Bill, we couldn't believe what we were seeing, and we quickly ran to the other side of the house, hoping to see more action. When we got there, nothing more could be seen, and where they had run off to was an unknown to us. All of this having occurred just days after meeting up with the two gentlemen in the grill. When the sun arose, we felt safe and calm enough to go outside. Edward brought his gun, and we walked into the yard where we had seen the one beast standing in the light. There were a number of impressions in the soft grass and ground where it had been standing, and we could see in the grass where they had run off, which went across our yard, leading towards the road and inevitably what must have been into the woods again. The beast that had stepped out of the trees first was enormous. Its head alone seemed to be 2 feet tall from chin to crown. Its body comprised of what looked like muscle upon muscle, covered in hair. I had never seen anything living that looked as strong as it did. When it broke into a run, with the second one following, they had cleared the backyard into the side yard in the blink of an eye. I mean, really fast. They moved so fast that it was maybe 5 or 6 extremely rapid leaps that they took to cover, say, 100 feet of yard space. Having seen the first quite well and the second but briefly, I would say that the two of them were somewhere between 7 and 8 feet tall and something like 3 or 4 feet wide, if not more. That very day, we went back to the grill, telling anyone who would listen about what had happened, and the place was abuzz with our telling of our tale. Everyone in the place started telling stories about their own encounters and those of others whom they knew. The outpouring, Bill, of testimonials was incredible, and this having occurred in such a small place. It was something that nobody will soon forget, and certainly not myself or Edward. He moved from there some 6 months after this occurrence, and to this day, we can't get what we saw out of our systems. What do you think of that, Kev?
Wow, a new apex predator in town near Mount Hood, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's no surprise that area is rife with encounters, and listen to these people. It reminds me of the old Finding Bigfoot show when they used to do the town hall meetings.
Yeah.
And they'd go into some little burger or beer joint, and there'd be, 40, 50 people in there raising their hands about what they saw. And then they used to pick a couple that they thought were legit, and go make the show out of them,
Yeah, but I am surprised with the cougar hiding on the deck. I hadn't heard anything like that before because those cougars are so stealthy. You'd think it could, it would rather not hide in plain sight, right?
Yeah, well, my thought on that is this. So you would say a cougar could probably outrun a Bigfoot in the woods.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter was that they had sighted two creatures. Maybe, just maybe, some of the animals, maybe a cougar being a little smarter than, say, I don't know, an elk or a deer, had experience, or if you can call it knowledge, of two of them trying to hem them in.
Yeah.
So it fled the scene and wanted to see what would develop. Cats, regular house cats, I've seen them, see another predator come in or another cat moving around the edges of the yard or something, and they will stay in place and watch and watch and watch.
No doubt about it. I mean, they are observant. They're not going to make like a false move, so to speak.
Right. They just kind of sit still and watch. But according to this lady, this thing reached a point when the first Bigfoot came out that I better get while the getting's good. And it leapt off of the deck and took off running. So I don't think it was planning on waiting for this thing to get any closer and possibly cut off its chance to exit without getting into a tiff,
No, 100%.
So really interesting. And where it went, and you see, after the fact, both of them went after it.
Yeah.
The cougar didn't go after them. They went after it. So I think that is evidential proof that they were stalking the cougar, and the cougar got sick of sneaking around and came right out and jumped up on this deck, this platform, for whatever reason, to sit still and look and watch and see what could happen. And when that one moved, it was time to get out of Dodge. So, but interesting, huh? It all started with a conversation in the grill. Then they had an encounter. Then they went back to the same joint. And everybody was flipping out, sharing Bigfoot stories after they started talking about it,
No, absolutely wild.
So you're not going to hear a conversation like that on Long Island, I guarantee you.
Different kind of apex predators.
It's unbelievable, Kev, huh?
Wow, man, that's crazy.
Yeah. And by the way, folks, if you're new to the podcast, we do Bigfoot encounters. Kevin is about to do his section called Cryptids in the News and Other Oddities. And we used to do it in reverse order, and we explained in the last podcast that we switched it up for people coming to the podcast, Bigfoot Terror in the Woods, and maybe wondering why we were talking about, UFOs or strange happenings around the planet instead of Bigfoot-related stories when the podcast begins. So we kind of switched it up a little bit, right, Kev?
Same content, different batting order.
Yeah, that's it. The Yankees could have used a different batting order this postseason. So what do you got, bro, in our Cryptids in the News and Other Oddities?
Yeah, we're going to get some creep on.
Oh.
So maybe it's good you didn't do Dogman tonight.
Is it going to be enough creep that I'm going to have to take a shower when we're done?
There's some good creep going on here. Perhaps it's good. It's a dark night.
Yeah. And
with
getting
a big
darker.
Moon. Yes.
Like Yogi Berra said, it gets dark early around here. Oh, God.
We're going to talk about a legendary creature called Lachuza.
Lachuza?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know Lachuza.
I don't, thank God.
Well, Lachuza is a witch owl from Mexico.
Ah.
Okay. So it's a witch, basically, that can shapeshift into a giant owl to prey on people.
Oh. Oh, the freaking bruja turning into an owl.
Exactly.
Oh.
La Bruja is just a general witch, and Lachuza turns into an owl.
Nice.
All right, so
Yeah.
you ready?
Yeah.
So the horror of this creature begins with her form. They say it's a grotesque violation of the natural order. Excuse me.
Yeah. A grotesque violation?
Yeah, she's making me lose my voice, evil creature. While the details of the legend vary from region to region, the core description remains chillingly consistent. It is, first and foremost, a massive owl. Some people say it stands 4 to 7 feet tall with a staggering wingspan of 15 feet.
15 feet?
15 feet wingspan.
It's like an airplane.
Yeah. But the most disturbing feature is not the size, believe it or not, but the face of the creature. Nearly every version of the tale of encounters with the creatures says that it has the face of an old, haggard woman.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine this thing cackling, coming at you, like dive bombing you out of the darkness?
Giant owl flying overhead, cackling, and it has the face of an old, haggard woman.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, crazy.
Can you picture this thing like coming at you out of the darkness, maybe making some cackling sound or whatever, and then as it gets within like 12 feet of you, you see that face?
Exactly. So they say, just as scary about it is that when people see it, it's like a violation of the natural order. Because you see, okay, this giant owl, okay, that could be a giant owl, but then it has this old woman's face on it.
Boy, that is grotesque, man.
I told you we were going to get some creep on.
How long have people been sighting Lachuza?
I saw accounts going back to 1940s.
Well, that's a long time.
But I'm not saying it doesn't go back further than that.
Yeah, this is like the first ones like there's a record of.
Exactly.
I guess you're talking
And
85 years or 80
yeah,
years.
yeah. And you're going to see some familiar predatory tactics here that Lachuza uses. So,
Okay.
Her hunting methods can be viewed as being as insidious as her ugly form. And her most notorious tactic is the fact that she will mimic the sound of a crying baby.
Oh, we've heard that before.
I know, yeah.
Like all of these shape-shifting creeps, even Bigfoot, and of course the Native Americans warn of the crying baby. Even the Stick Indians and all of these things use that crying baby to lure.
Exactly. So Lachuza weaponizes the empathy people have, basically taking, humans' best nature and turning it into a fatal vulnerability. So those that venture out to find the source of this cry are not met with a helpless child, but with a silent, giant, swooping predator.
And regular owls, their wings are designed where they really make no flapping noises.
Super quiet.
The ultimate in stealthy night predation.
I've told you, we have a lot of owls here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And they have flown over me both in the early evening while the sun's still up, like right over my shoulder, over my head while I'm walking in the woods, a couple of feet away. And I had no idea this thing was coming until it flew past my head and I saw it.
Right. It could have struck you and you would have been...
100%.
Yeah.
I never would have known it.
Nope. Just boom. Hit you.
Yeah. Wild.
Wow. So Lachuza, get back to the Lachuza.
Yeah. So the predatory nature is backed by a host of supernatural abilities as well. Okay. Has immense physical strength with numerous tails, insisting that she can carry away a full-grown man in her talons.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Of course, it is a shape-shifting beast, so it can go from a witch to an owl and back again. And it's also said to have the power to control the weather and can summon sudden violent thunderstorms in order to create confusion and cover for her attacks. Yeah.
Wow. Kev.
Yeah.
Such a hideous thing.
Oh.
I always say that, like, where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't really, I can almost not believe that such a thing has been fabricated for such a long time. And there's not some monicum of truth to what's being talked about.
Well, and we're going to get to it a little more, but I think what we're talking about is demonic stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? Not only is it a witch, but it's, a witch, not a good witch, so please don't write letters in, all you good witches out there. And bad witches don't write letters either. We're not hurting any witches in this episode.
Yeah, and by the way, folks, if you listen to the podcast regularly, my standing opinion is that there are people out there, knowingly or unknowingly, that conjure stuff up out of the ether. And they're either looking for it or they brought it in unaware. But if you send out invites, you're going to get people coming to the party.
Not necessarily people, but...
Yeah, you're going to get things coming
Yeah.
to the party.
Yeah, so, and this is where we get into this a little bit more, Bill. So the legends state that this creature cannot be hurt by bullets. And more than that, there's a belief that if you try to shoot a Lachuza and fail to kill it, a curse will turn back on you and you will die shortly thereafter.
Mm-hmm.
So this supernatural defense makes confronting Lachuza a life or death gamble, with the odds stacked heavily in her favor.
Oh, boy, oh, boy.
Yeah.
That's freaking unbelievable.
Yeah.
Geez, Kev, where was the last report of Lachuza come from? All in Mexico?
No, no. Well, different places. So we're going to talk about one here in South Texas.
Okay, so close to the border
Yeah.
country, though.
Yeah. So it's called the Robstown Panic of 1975. And in the mid 1970s, a wave of fear swept through the small rural towns of South Texas. It started in Robstown, just outside of Corpus Christi, so on the east side of southern Texas, with a series of bizarre sightings. People walking along lonely county roads at night reported being swooped at by a huge, monstrous bird. Sounds a little familiar, doesn't it?
Yes.
Something else?
Yeah, yep.
The local newspaper, the Corpus Christi Caller-Times, began reporting on the claims. The descriptions were a little inconsistent. Some said the creature was only 2 feet tall, while others swore it was towering 6 feet. But one detail electrified the community and connected the sightings directly to this folklore. Mm-hmm. Witnesses all claimed the creature had the face of a human.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, this was no longer a story about a strange animal. It was about El Pájaro Gigante de Robe, the giant bird of Robstown. And everyone knew that was just another name for Lachuza. The sighting spread to the nearby towns of Banquete and Alice, becoming a full-blown wave of hysteria. Mm-hmm. The story shows how a deeply embedded belief can erupt into a public consciousness, fueled by media attention and the anxieties of a close-knit community. For a few months in South Texas, the monster was terrifyingly real.
Mm-hmm.
How do you like that?
Yeah, Kev, again, different names for what apparently seems to be the same entity. In one, the description, which was probably recorded many times over, of the owl with the haggard witch face on it.
Yeah.
And perhaps in southern Texas, they hadn't got as good a look at it by the time this report was taken and just called it a giant bird.
Yeah. Some of the people didn't see the face, right? It's at night.
Exactly.
You got to be pretty close to it, and you're not really looking for the face, right? You may be now, after you listen to this story, and you go for a walk tonight, and something swoops down over you. You'll be like, "Wait a minute, turn around, let me see your face."
Yeah.
Witch owl.
Yeah. Oh my God.
No, super creepy though, Bill. And again, sounds like something from the demonic realm. Reminds me a little bit of Mothman.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Kev. You took the thought right out of my mind. But, I can understand when something happens to you initially that you're kind of mesmerized watching this giant flying thing, just trying to get an identification going of what you're looking at. That's just human nature. A lot of people,
100%.
Yeah, a lot of people wonder, why didn't you take the picture? Why didn't you do that? How come you didn't do this and that? You don't have any idea until you're put in one of these situations how you're going to act or react.
In a case like this, Bill, it might take 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like you can't get your phone out and get the camera loaded, even if you were taking a picture at a sporting event in 2 seconds where you're not frightened.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, you're terrified. Like I'd drop my phone on the ground.
Yeah. No, Kev. I've been in situations, as I've discussed many times on the podcast, where really, once you get on the other side of it, you understand two things. That it's virtually impossible to break away from what's put before you initially. Sometimes there's almost like an out-of-body or a brain-numbing kind of, like Pink Floyd said, comfortably numb.
Yeah.
You don't really understand it. It's not normal. It doesn't happen in a normal living.
Yep.
But when you're put in some of these situations, let's just call them paranormal or out of the norm. That's what paranormal means. Or whatever it may be. Something happens where looking back, you're like, well, why didn't I do this? I had my phone. Why didn't I put it on record? I had a gun. I didn't carry it out with me. You just don't get it until it happens to you.
No, 100%.
And I can picture myself, Kev, out at dusk, seeing some large thing, and now I identify what appears to be feathers. And now this thing really has my attention, and then poof, it's gone.
Yep.
You know, you're thinking plane, glider, feathers, not a glider, boom, in the trees, in the darkness, and it's over. You know, you really don't have time to measure anything other than you observe initially. And that's what you leave with, you know?
Yep, 100%.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Pretty creepy stuff, right?
Yeah, that is intense, man. Lachuza. Let me, do you have a phone with you?
A phone?
Yeah, let me look at something. I just want to look at something for a second.
All right.
I know how to spell Lachuza. I want to see what it means. Let's see. Lachuza bird. Lachuza witch. Oh. Lachuza, the owl witch.
Yeah, that's what it means, owl witch.
Mexican barn owl witch, paranormal. Wow.
Giddy up.
Yeah, I mean, I knew the bruja because, of course, Paula was Spanish.
Yeah, bruja just means witch.
Just a witch, the bruja.
Yeah.
La bruja.
Yeah.
But the shapeshifter, the crying babies, you know, all of this stuff.
Not being able to kill it with bullets.
Yeah, all of this stuff just reeks of demonic activity.
Demonic stuff.
Wow. So, Kev, what do we have in our listener mail this
Yeah, we got a
day?
couple of good things here. Teresa writes in, and this is interesting. She says, the episodes listed on your website, BigfootTerrorInTheWoods.com, end at August 2025. And Teresa says, maybe it's just my computer, but when I went onto your website to see what new episodes were listed, the episodes end at August, and there's nothing listed for September and October. I tried refreshing my bookmark page, but that didn't update it. Teresa, well, guess what, Teresa? You're right. Although the good news is all of the episodes are out there on your favorite listening location. And I don't know what the heck happened to the website, but I looked at it when I saw your letter, and all of the details that I posted up there are indeed gone.
Wow.
So I will put that on my to-do list as soon as I get a breath to go and repost everything back up there. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, who knows, man? Welcome to the world of computers.
But good catch, Teresa, but hopefully you didn't troubleshoot your computer too long.
Yeah, and folks, just before Kevin and I launched to do this podcast, my computer was fine, and then when I went to join up with Kevin, there was no connection, and I had to call Kevin on the phone and tell him I had to do a reboot. So, welcome to the world of computers and smartphones.
No doubt about it. All right, and our next email is a little lighter and lots of fun, and I'm going to try to describe it to you, and then you can go and look for it on YouTube. But Brian writes in. Brian didn't say where he's from, but he writes in, and he attached a link to a YouTube video that was a promotional iPhone 16 commercial from Verizon Wireless. So I think it's called YouTube Video Bigfoot iPhone 16 Pro. So I'm going to describe it to you, though, okay? So picture there's this couple, and they're camping in the woods. So it's dark out, and, there's a little picnic table that they're standing behind, and you could see their tent behind them and woods behind that. And, it's a guy and a girl, and the guy picks up his iPhone, and he's going to take a selfie of him and a girl he's with, right? So he puts his arm around her, and they're holding the camera up in front of their face like we do when we take a selfie, takes the selfie, And then all of a sudden, you see this big rock like hit the tree in front of them and bounce off the tree. And they put the phone down on the picnic table and they go walking forward, like towards the camera of the commercial, and they're looking at this big rock that flew off of a tree, big boulder.
Mm-hmm.
And then out of the woods behind them comes a Bigfoot, and he comes walking out, and he picks up the iPhone and he looks at the picture and he makes like a grimacy face because in the background of the selfie they took is Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
So he grabs the phone and he's doing the new Apple editing software. So he picks it up with his big mitts and then touches the image of himself in the picture and it disappears, and then he puts it back down and goes back into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Like they accidentally took a picture of him and he knew it. So he throws a big boulder to distract him and then comes out and uses their phone to delete himself from the picture. I don't know if my description made it, but it was pretty darn funny. Thank you, Brian, for putting a smile on our face.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff, man. And we like to hear from the audience, far too few people write into us. Am I right, Kev? I mean,
we get a good amount of mail.
Yeah, no, I'd like to see more, just to say hello. You folks, you don't have to write to us because you've had a Bigfoot encounter, because those are slim, few and far between. And but if you just want to say hello, tell us you love the show, and it's encouraging.
We do love to hear from you, and sometimes we hear a fair amount. We hear from people who, believe it or not, folks, we've helped them through like a tough part of their life, maybe some mourning or some sickness or something like that. And they were able to kind of hang out with Bill and I and hopefully be a little entertained and maybe have a laugh or two and once in a while get the bejesus scared out of them.
Yeah. I got to tell you something, Kev. We got a couple of minutes. My friend Rich, and Rich, I know you're going to listen to this. How you doing, bro? Is building a house out in Idaho. And one of the cameras he set up on the property out there is a 360-degree camera that has, if it picks up anything, it makes 10-second videos of it. And he pays a subscription monthly. He can download, X amount of 10-second videos. If he goes over the limit, it's like, 10 cents per each additional. So they're all 10-second videos. So he gets an alarm on his phone. This thing sends him notifications in the state of Washington, what it picks up in Idaho. He gets an alarm. He looks at the video, and the video is only 1 second long of 10. Everything is 10. This is 1 second, and it's a video of a large owl sitting on a stump, staring directly at the counter. And there was nothing before showing it coming to the stump or nothing after it showing it leaving the stump. I just thought of that when we're talking about Lachuza.
Lachuza, it could be.
Just why mysteriously with the owl picture, a 1 second video when everything else, cougars, deer, bobcats, everything else is 10 seconds. The appearance of the owl, 1 second.
Yeah, it's wild.
Crazy, heck yeah.
Cool stuff, man.
Wow.
I love those cameras where you're catching different kinds of wildlife. I've seen a bunch of pictures of, speaking of cougars, of the tail of a cougar, because they're so stealthy, they move out of the full frame before the camera goes off.
Yeah, well, I told Rich, I said, Rich, I fully believe that you, in that location, there have been sightings around where he lives. One of them was documented on the BFRO right in his, let's call it a neighborhood, but these people live far apart. I said, Rich, I guarantee you, man, you are going to get some excellent Bigfoot footage. Just wait and see. So I cannot wait, Kev. I cannot wait. Well, anyway, so folks, another great podcast. And remember, if you should be wandering around the woods near Mount Hood, Rainier, Mount St. Helens, or southern Texas, perhaps, you best remember one thing, my friends. Always carry more gun than you think you're going to need. Sleep tight.